All right, YouTube, Brian, Suboxone, withdrawal day 11. I just came back from a walk. I just wanted to make a really quick video before I hopped in the shower. One of the things that I want to talk about is that I walked today about 4.5 miles. Last night I walked about 4.5 miles. And it was only as my energy really allowed. I wasn't quite sure if I was going to be able to make it around the general area that we walk around. Normally, we do 2 or 3 rotations, 3 being more like 5.5 or 6 miles. Anyway, so I was able to walk last night, and believe it or not, I went to bed at about 9. I woke up this morning at 3 o'clock. And I was disappointed because I'm thinking, damn, I just went for a walk and I should be asleep and this is just crazy. And I did sweat like really bad, which I think is one of the reasons I woke up, aside from the fact that I had to use the restroom. But the biggest issue was the sweating. So I was a little confused. And I got up and I changed my clothes, obviously. And instead of laying in the bed, which now I have to wash my sheets because I sweated through them, I just laid on the couch, and believe it or not, I felt tired enough that I fell back to sleep. So when I woke up this morning at 5, which was roughly, I was only up for about 30 minutes maybe. So when I woke up this morning at about 5, I felt really good. I felt mentally fit. I did still have some, achiness in my legs. But again, like I said in my earlier video, that is primarily because the drug, it inundates your system. I mean, it gets in your bones, it gets in your muscles, it gets in your fatty tissues, it gets into your joints, especially does it get into your joints. The best piece of advice I can give to anybody, wanting to go through this is to make sure that you do your homework before you make this jump. And guys, stop listening to doctors. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. If you really want to know what to do and how to do this, there's information out there, and this is information through trial and error with people that have been through this. Okay, that's why it's important to look online and see what your options are, what's available to you, and to educate yourself as much as possible. I've always said that if you're not a part of the solution, then you're very much a part of the problem. I was my biggest problem because I allowed me to get into the way of my own progress. You get scared. You're thinking the worst possible case scenario. Nobody wants to be that sick. Nobody does. Not everybody has the ability to just go through 11 days of sickness either. And look, guys, it's not 11 days full of sickness. The first 3 days you're going to feel the worst. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, through the 11th day, you're going to feel a lot better. Each day you're going to hit milestones, and you're going to notice that, through certain times of the day, I'm kind of tired, I feel really sluggish. But, things counter that. Make sure that you're eating healthy. Why am I going to put more junk into my body? And what I'm referring to is processed anything. When I'm trying to get my body clean, the best thing for you to eat are things that are healthy, things that you're going to get natural amino acids from, things that you're going to get natural minerals from, things that you're going to get natural vitamins from. Supplements are great and they go a long way, especially in the very beginning of this. But you've got to realize, we are deficient. So you can take as many supplements as you want, but if you're eating like crap, this process is going to take twice as long. If you're not exercising, when you feel like you can exercise, you're not doing yourself any favors, and you're getting in the way of you recovering. Look, I don't want to walk every time I go for a walk, but I also recognize the value in walking, because when I am finished with that walk, not only am I going to sleep better, but I'm going to physically feel better. My legs are going to stop aching. I'm increasing my dopamine, my serotonin. I mean, everything naturally, including my endorphins. And that's the prize right there. Feeling free and feeling like you're past the worst of it. Look, the reason that we all went on Suboxone is because each one of us was terrified of the inevitable withdrawals. It's crazy to me, and I'm just going to touch on this because when I was on Oxy, and I was only on it for the first time steadily when I went in pain management for an entire year. I could have stayed on the oxy. I could have stayed on the oxycodone. And he would have given me more. I mean, I was justifiably fucked up, and excuse my language, but I was justifiably fucked up. And they just kept pile driving more and more and more, and it was through my education. It was through that understanding chemically that these are the things that this drug is doing to my body, that finally got me to a point to say, you know what am I doing? It's rinse and repeat. I went through withdrawals every single month for an entire year. And I guess that was the problem. I was too afraid to just let myself go through it. So instead, I locked myself tightly into another prison. And I see it all the time. It's not just me. There's so many other people that fall prey to that snare. Doctors don't care. Guys, they want to line their pockets. And the more Suboxone you're taking, the more you're basically buying them a new Mercedes. You're basically helping them to live high on the hog while we're down here barely scraping it together to even pay for our medication. Look, I'll be damned if I'm going to sit there and allow some stupid-ass doctor dictate to me, especially when his motives are not pure, what the right course of action is. Because the right course of action for me was the course of action that I had to learn on my own. I have yet to find a doctor that has had any knowledge about really how opioids affect the human condition. I mean, dude, y'all, they affect everything. Sorry, my phone's dying. But they affect everything. They affect your hippocampus. They affect your medulla oblongata, which is, I believe, where you're... I'm not positive, so I'm not a doctor, but I believe that it's the beginning of your CNS, your central nervous system, and that's where your hypothalamus is, which explains also because when you're taking the pain medication, it's basically suppressing your CNS, your central nervous system, which in turn is also depressing everything else, your hypothalamus, your hippocampus. I mean, the pleasure center of your brain is absolutely being rewired to only feel good when you are taking this drug. And that's the lie right there. Misery sucks. Nobody wants to go through it. It sucks. And trust me, this process hasn't exactly been easy. But this process would have taken a hell of a lot longer if I didn't take the time to understand, one, what I was going to go through. Number two, exactly how long it was going to take. Number three, what I could do to ease some of the pain. Now, I had no unrealistic expectations to think that all the pain was going to go away. You have to accept the fact that you're going to go through a little bit of hell. It's okay. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to get sick for a few days? Fuck, if we get the flu, we get sick. You're trading one evil for another, but this is your freedom. This was my freedom. This was my ability to move forward with the rest of my life, to reinitiate relationships that had been destroyed as a result of things that I did in my active addiction. And trust me, I did a lot of bad stuff, guys. These drugs make us very manipulative because we need our next fix. And it's always about that. You never really get far away from needing that next fix. And that right there is the tether, that you're so tethered to that, you're not able to move away from it. You're not able to move forward with your life. And I was sick and tired of the same rinse and repeat process on a daily basis. It's a choice. It's a choice. I would rather have 11 days of shit than another 365 days of barely making it on Suboxone. It's just not worth it. And something else I'm going to talk about that I'd kind of touched on yesterday, and that's that, number one, if I was being paid, and I'm just saying, quote unquote, if I was being paid by Big Pharma to make these videos, they would probably be paying me to not make the videos, because it's in these videos, it's in this information that people find freedom. This is how I found freedom. Don't feel bad because you're looking up videos to see what other people are going through. You know what? You need to understand what they're going through so you can likewise go through the same shit. And it is some shit. But the prize, and I've talked about this in almost every video, you got to keep your eye on the prize. And the prize is your freedom. The prize is your ability to function again. The prize is your ability to wake up every morning and not have to just wait for that freaking 1 milligram to kick in 3 to 5 hours later, when all of a sudden your entire, half your day's gone already because you're waiting and waiting and waiting for that Suboxone to finally kick in. And when you get down to the lower doses, it's hard every single day. It's really hard. This is why in 1 month I made the decision that I was going to drop it down from 8 milligrams down to 3 milligrams, down to 2 milligrams, and then down to 1. I was on 0.5 milligrams for 2 days, and I made the jump. Look, I'm not going to tell you guys how you need to do your taper, but there were a lot of other things that I did as well that helped. You know, the walking prior to jumping, helped. It helped get all the extra fat off me. It helped to not only get all the extra fat off me, but to get all of those toxins out of that fat and bled out of my body prior to the jump. Because if I had gone through this with all of that fat, and we're talking 30 extra pounds, think about how 30 pounds, how much that is. That's a lot. That's a lot of bad stuff to keep a lot of toxic waste. It is what it is. Guys, it's your freedom. It's your life. You got to think about your kids. You got to think about your moms. You got to think about your dads and your brothers and all these people that love you that are watching you circle the drain. Look, I'm here for anybody that wants to talk to me. In one of the videos, my email address is there. You guys are welcome. I've already spoken with one guy, and I hope to God that I was able to help him. God knows these videos have helped me, but, I found a purpose in my life, and that's to help people become educated about the process that they're going through, especially with the epidemic of chemicals in this society. And it's not just pain medication, though, be it pain medication is the worst. It really is. You've got cocaine, though. You've got, ecstasy. You've got Molly. You've got all kinds of bad stuff out there, guys. And the reality of that for a lot of people is it's just an escape. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. And it's temporary. You might get away from it for a minute, but it's always going to come back. My parents had me put on psychotropic medications when I was younger because doctors insisted that I was ADD and that I was bipolar. And I believe truly from the bottom of my heart that it began with that. You're a kid, you're being taught, you're impressionable, so everything that you're being exposed to is obviously the first time you're being exposed to, it's going to make an impression on you. And I had all these doctors telling me, it's you, it's you, it's you. You're not taking your medication the way you're supposed to. You're not doing this, you're not doing that. Nobody ever took into consideration that they don't understand how the human brain works well enough to even be prescribing these medications. Our children are going through, and it was a lot of anger towards my parents for a lot of years, because as I began to understand how these drugs really affected the brain, it made me realize that, of course, I was going to jump from something that was legally being prescribed by a doctor drug. It gave me instant freedom, but you know what? It's not instant freedom, and look at where it left me. I'm lucky to have people in my life that stuck by me through all of this. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna maybe post another video later, but you can do this. It's so worth it. And I'm gonna put my email address in the bottom of also this description of the video. So anyway, you guys have an amazing day. And again, I feel almost 100% back to my normal self. Have a good day.